and welcome to LTV News. I'm Nada Marche and these are our top stories today. Syria continues shelling rebel bases, killing 12. Clouds threaten to spoil eclipse in Australia. And Argentina make their way to Saudi Arabia. Beginning with news from the Middle East. Fears are growing of a full-out conflict between Israel and Hamas, which governs the Gaza Strip. As the Israeli Defense Minister announced, Aviv would decide to respond to the recent violence. In the last 2 weeks, at least 6 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli fire, which around 10 Israelis have been injured by Palestinian rockets.
Israeli Defense Minister Ehud Barak today announced Israel would decide when and how to react to ongoing cross-border violence with Gaza. Israel struck 3 targets in the Gaza Strip in the early hours of this morning, despite a marked decrease in rocket fire from the territory. The Israeli military said its warplanes successfully hit a weapons storage facility in central Gaza and 2 rocket launching sites in the north. Residents in the Hamas-run enclave waited for daylight to assess the damage caused by the overnight airstrikes. During a tour of the Israeli side of the Gaza border, Barak said the violence is not over. Last week alone, more than 6 Palestinians were killed by Israeli strikes, amongst them a 12-year-old boy. But Tel Aviv says it will not stop in its actions as long as Palestinian fighters continue to fire rockets in its territory. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has convened a meeting with senior ministers later to decide what action to take, aware that public opinion is pushing for an end to the regular Gaza flare-ups. He discussed possible attack scenarios, and some ministers have said the Air Force may return to a policy of targeted killings of senior Islamist leaders in Gaza. Now there are fears of a repeat of the 2008 to 2009 Gaza war, in which some 1,400 Palestinians and 13 Israelis were killed.
Hundreds of Syrian refugees have continued to make their way to the Turkish border as government forces pound rebel strongholds. The latest shelling has killed at least 12 people, with dozens injured.
Syrian shelling and airstrikes targeted rebel positions on the Turkish border that have killed at least 12 people. NATO vowed to do what it takes to defend Turkey, as fighting on the Turkish-Syrian border risks sparking a broader regional conflict. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, a Syrian fighter jet reportedly bombed the rebel-held position 3 times today, killing more than a dozen people in the frontier town of Ras Al Ain. A Turkish official who did not want to be named said that 70 people injured in the airstrikes had been brought to Turkey for treatment, where more than 8 died. Turkish Foreign Minister Ahmet Davutoglu told reporters in Rome that the jet did not cross into his country's border, though Turkey would have responded if it had. The latest incidents have come as the Arab League today welcomed the formation of a new Syrian opposition group, but stopped short of giving it full recognition as the representative of the Syrian people. With some Arab states still reluctant to completely abandon Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, Arab League foreign ministers meeting in Cairo were unable to state clearly whether the new Syrian National Council was the sole legitimate Syrian voice.
Staying with the Syrian crisis now, a neighbouring Israel has responded to Syrian fire which hit its territory, increasing fears the conflict may now engulf its neighbours. Aviv is now on high alert and says it will respond immediately to any incidents on its grounds.
Israeli tanks patrolled the Golan Heights today, a day after tank shells were fired across the de facto border in response to a Syrian mortar shell that struck the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights. Israeli military sources said Syrian mobile artillery was directly hit in the incident. There was no immediate word on whether it had been in the hands of the Syrian army forces or the rebels they are battling. On Sunday, the military said it had fired a guided missile into Syria in a potent warning shot after mortar fires had fallen on land that Israel seized in a 1967 war. Yesterday, Israel carried through with a threat to target directly anyone firing across the lines. There have been similar worries in Turkey, Jordan and Lebanon about incidents on their own borders with Syria.
Moving on to the world news now. The US has expressed happiness after being re-elected to the UN's human rights body. The body is seen as vital in monitoring international human rights issues. 17 other countries were also elected.
The United States has succeeded in its bid for re-election to the 47-nation UN Rights Council for a 3-year term in the United Nations Geneva-based rights watchdog. The 193-nation UN General Assembly also elected 17 other countries for terms beginning in January. Argentina and Brazil were amongst a number of others who had also won seats. Commenting after the vote was Pakistan's ambassador to the UN, Mohammad Masood Khan, who thanked the world body.
It's a matter of pride for the people of Pakistan, because the people of Pakistan, our government, our parliament, our judiciary, and all political forces and all segments of civil society in Pakistan are committed to civil, political, economic, social and cultural rights. So this is good news for the people of Pakistan, and we think that as a new member we will make substantial contribution to the work of the Council.
Pakistan has lately come under global scrutiny following the shooting by Islamist radicals of a girl educational activist and riots against Christians.
Portugal's Labour Union has called for a general strike this week, the second in its last 8 months, against declining living conditions and austerity measures imposed since early 2011. The strike coincides with Italy, Greece and Spain's general strikes when workers angered by austerity will protest against the Troika and austerity measures that they say compromise their livelihoods. Since the 2013 budget was announced, Lisbon has experienced demonstrations on a weekly basis. A demonstration in Lisbon on September the 15th saw a gathering of thousands of people angry with austerity measures. Over 1,000 people gathered on beaches in northern Australia this week to prepare for a total solar eclipse despite looming the cloud cover threatening to spoil the view. People have travelled to Queensland from all over the world in hope of a spectacular eclipse. Totality, when the moon passes directly between the sun and the earth, is expected to last for around 2 minutes. Professional and amateur astronomers are spread out along the 2,000-kilometre stretch, all hoping for the best view. However, cloud cover could be a problem. Now here's a look at our finance news. Analysts are concerned that the European financial crisis may be depending on Germany's DAX index opened lower. The news has worried many, as other EU nations have been struggling with growing debt, and some believe that Germany may be next in line.
Germany's DAX index opened 0.7% lower today as EU finance ministers continue to meet in Brussels on the fate of Greece. Eurozone finance ministers suggested that Greece should be given until 2022 to lower its debt ratio to 120%. Frankfurt trader Robert Halver, who repeatedly argued for Greece's exit from the Eurozone, claimed the DAX started lower because the unsolved issue of Greece. According to Halver, 2 more years of Greece cost another 32 billion. Some 2 hours into trading, the DAX was down 31 points at 7135 at a loss of 0.42%.
Now for some sports news. Argentina arrived in Saudi Arabia this week for their match. Messi arrived along with his team whilst having a security escort to help him make his way through the crowd of journalists, cameramen, photographers and fans. He bagged 50 goals in the La Liga last session, smashing Real Madrid's Cristiano Ronaldo's record of 40 from the previous campaign, and was top scorer in the Champions League for an unprecedented 4th straight edition. Messi is the favourite to claim a 4th consecutive World Player Award when the winner is announced in the new year. Now let's take a look at the world of arts and culture. Pop star Justin Bieber and his girlfriend Selena Gomez have broken up, ending a relationship that made them one of Hollywood's most high-profile young couples. Bieber, 18, and Gomez, 20, disclosed their relationship earlier this year when they appeared together at an Oscar night party after months of rumours of their dating. E-Online was the first to report the split, with other media outlets and people always saying the relationship was over. The report cited unnamed sources close to the couples. Representatives for Bieber and Gomez did not return calls or emails. Thousands of screaming fans lined the black carpet this week for the final Twilight film premiere at the cast of Breaking Dawn farewell to its loyal followers. Robert Pattinson, Kristen Stewart and Taylor Lautner led the star-studded carpet in downtown Los Angeles to greet fans, many of whom had camped out for days in advance to catch a glimpse of their favourite stars and see the film before it comes out in theatres. Stewart, who finally got to embrace her wild side after Bella transformed into a vampire, hoped people would enjoy her character's ride on the final film. All of the film stars spent time signing autographs and posing for photographs with the loyal fans who had camped out in the chilly weather for over 5 days. That's all we have time for today, but before we go, let's take a look back at today's top stories. Syria continues shelling rebel bases, killing 12. Clouds threaten to spoil eclipse in Australia. And Argentina make their way to Saudi Arabia. Thank you for watching. For more information, do visit our website at www.levant.tv. Join us tomorrow at the same time, and until then, from all of us at LTV, goodbye.